Hello again, everyone. Edwin Lerner back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about Pluto, square or opposition to South Node in her natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects of the natal chart. They're a little bit concise. Some people may refer to them as snappy, so what I decided to do is make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is if you have Pluto square or opposite the South Node in a natal chart, one way it may manifest is that there may be difficulty of finding the passion, desire, and emotional intensity, which is Pluto, connected with matters with what you are naturally proficient in, which is the South Node. Now, let's say, if the South Node is in Aquarius as an example, things you're naturally proficient in, could be humanitarian, altruistic endeavors and activities. It may be doing things connected with astrology, astronomy, computers, electronics, innovation, aviation, meteorology, or even rocket science. Also, too, another way these aspects may manifest in the natal chart is that intimate connections and those who are in shared resources situations with, which is Pluto, may not have been beneficial, in your past, and it doesn't mean they were necessarily detrimental in those matters, but they just may not have been overly helpful or advantageous in those matters. They may have been away, not been around for you when you needed them at that time. And let's say if your South Node is in Capricorn, the past may have been one in which you emphasized career-related matters or attaining greater social stature in life, in which it could have been one in which you were trying to attain, certain notoriety and recognition, being successful. It could have been doing something business-related or something, connected with the Capricorn field or profession, such as accounting, dentistry, masonry, information technology, timekeeping, something business related. It may have been doing even general mundane work in some cases. Now, also, too, there may be trouble in terms of balancing activities with intimate connections and shared resources situations, which is Pluto, and those prominent in your past, which is the South Node. One may conflict with the other. So, if you have, let's say, Pluto and Virgo as an example, even though generational, intimate connections and those are in shared resources situations with, excuse me. Now, one or more of those people may actually be a Virgo Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be those that are analytical, detail-oriented, pedantic, punctual, reliable, helpful, service-oriented, but at the same time may also be overly critical, judgmental, and cynical as well. And also, too, the same may apply for what you have a strong passion and desire for, which is Pluto, and what you are naturally good at, which is the South Node. So there may be difficulty in terms of balancing activities with those matters. Now, if you're like me and you have Pluto and Virgo in the fifth house, you may have a passion, desire for analytical and intellectual amusement and enjoyment. It could be extrapolating sports data. It may simply be doing something with cleaning or sanitizing or organizing that you truly enjoy. If somebody, let's say, has Pluto in Libra in the seventh house is another example. It could be about doing some kind of form of balance competition. It could be like gymnastics or tennis, because those are two sports naturally that would require certain balance and equilibrium. And seventh house is the house of competition, as an example. And so too, another thing about Pluto opposite or square the South Node in a natal chart is that it could also indicate, where you may be very either being very fixated in doing things associated with your natural built-in abilities, which is the South Node, or you may simply lack, the passion, which is Pluto, in those activities. So it could be where you may either be overly obsessed with doing things that you're naturally proficient in or connected with your built-in abilities, or there just may be like this lack of passion in those matters. So let's say if the South Node is in, say Scorpio as an example, natural built-in abilities, may be connected with locksmithing, psychology, the occult, which includes astrology, embalming, forensics, investigation, deep research. It could be, going deep into matters. It could be dealing with things that are complex, as some examples. Now, also, too, another way Pluto square or opposite the South Node, can manifest in the natal chart is that issues associated with power and control, which is Pluto, may be things that you have difficulty in terms of getting away from, which is the South Node. And if you have Pluto in the 4th house as an example, there may be issues with power and control over matters associated with your home, your family life. Maybe it's over traditions. Pluto in Scorpio and or the 8th house may have issues with power and control, associated with insurance, or maybe it's over will, or inheritance, matters connected with support, as some examples. Also, too, Pluto square or opposite the South Node in the natal chart can also indicate it where it could be hard to leave behind, which is the South Node, jealous, manipulative, obsessive, and vengeful qualities, which is Pluto. Now, if you have Pluto in the 3rd house as an example, there may be some jealousy that's connected with siblings or cousins or even neighbors, or it could be those that were prominent in your early education. Pluto in the 7th house and or Libra, can indicate there may be some jealousy over matters, could be over a significant other, or even important friends. It could be too, if you have, Pluto in the 5th house, there may be obsessive qualities connected with sports, romance or enjoyment, fun and games, recreation, even children in some cases. Now, another thing about these aspects is that it could also indicate that Pluto-related people may not be advantageous in terms of what you are going away from, which is the South Node. Now, Pluto-related people can cover a number of persons. It could be those that you're in shared resources situations with, intimate connections. It could be those involved in the occult, which includes astrology, or people could be people involved in insurance, taxes, loans, investigation, forensics, coroners, and surgeons. And the thing is, if the let's say the South Node, is in Sagittarius as an example, you could be what you're trying to get away from. It could be just simply targeting one kind of philosophy or belief, or it could be a certain religion, or maybe there's some reckless qualities or self-righteous, foolhardy qualities that you're trying to get away from. Also, too, transformation, control, power, and rebirth, which is Pluto, may not easily be attained in that first half of life, which is the South Node. Now, let's say, if you have the South Node, in Taurus as an example, you may be trying to attain, some kind of, peace, tranquility, stability. It could be some kind of financial security, in that first half of life. It could be just being self-reliant. It may be doing something Taurus related, whether it could be geology, carpet laying, architecture, banking, finance, or something associated with art or music as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin.